Russia. Its history begins with the Eastern Slavs, the Kievan Rus, in 862 AD. The first united East Slavic state was founded in 882. The state adopted Christianity from the Byzantine Empire in 988, beginning the synthesis of Byzantine and Slavic cultures that defined Slavic culture for the next millennium. In 1237 and 1240, the Mongol invasion slaughtered half of the population of Kievan Rus, which ultimately disintegrated the state as a whole. After the 13th century, Moscow became a cultural center of Moscovia. By the 18th century, the Tsardom of Russia became the massive Russian Empire, stretching from the Polish border to the Pacific Ocean. Successive regimes of the 19th century responded to the pressure of Western Russia with a combination of half-hearted reform and repression. Peasant revolts were incredibly common, but all were totally suppressed. Russian serfdom was abolished in 1861, but the peasant fared poorly and turned to revolutionary pressures. The Russian Revolution in 1917 was triggered by a combination of economic breakdown, war weariness, and discontent with the autocratic system of government, and it first brought a coalition of liberals and modern socialists to power, but their failed policies led to seizure of power by the communist Bolsheviks on the 25th of October. Between 1922 and 1991, the history of Russia is also the history of the Soviet Union, an ideologically based state not dissimilar to the Russian Empire before the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk. The approach to the building of socialism, however, varied over different periods in Soviet history, from the mixed economy and diverse society and culture of the 1920s to the command economy and repressions of the Joseph Stalin era to the era of stagnation in the 1980s. From its first years, government in the Soviet Union was based on the one-party rule of the communists, as the Bolsheviks called themselves. Beginning in March 1918, by the mid-1980s, the weakness of the economic and political structure being much more acute. Mikhail Gorbachev embarked on major reforms which led to the dissolving of the communist regime and breaking up the USSR. The Russian Federation began in 1992 as a legal successor to the USSR. With this, Russia retained its nuclear arsenal, but lost its status as a superpower. Scrapping the socialist central planning and state ownership of property of the socialist era, new leaders, led by President Vladimir Putin, took political and economic power after 2000 and engaged in energetic foreign policy that continues today.